welcome. I'm Josh. Welcome to the Clarity Cafe Sunday reset for you. I was trying to do it on my new computer here. Couldn't. I got it all befuddled because I had actually set it up on mobile. So I'm back to mobile again. And I had this whole presentation I was going to do. I'm actually going to pick up basically on, we're going to talk about hygiene. Brush your teeth, wash your body, take care of yourself, kind of thing, because that's really what this is all about. And what this stream is about, just so you know, is literally coming in here. If you have questions, you're stuck, you have a problem related to whatever, health, wellness, life, general purpose, meaning, you've lost. And I work as an intuitive, a medium. And so I answer questions, and if we want to go further, you can book a session. And I usually provide links. I think it's in here on this feed, so you should see that in the description. And that's what this is about, really. It's, we can take it to wherever you want to go. And last week, what I mentioned talking about was hygiene, literally spiritual hygiene. And I think this is really important. I kind of want to bring it up again. You could say this is kind of like a part two. And previously there were 7 or 8 steps that I had. And it's like, really, think about the people that you go to see. Like if you have a psychic, you have a tarot card reader, if you have somebody, some people do, they have that. They have like multiple people or mentors that they go to where they, they rely on them to get data and information for them to give them insight and awareness as to like what's going on in their world. Tell me, how can I make changes and shifts? But the thing I want to implore on you is you need to ask these people what is their dossier? Where do they get their experience from? A lot of us, I will share this for myself. I mean, I had interest from a very young age where I was really into the esoteric arts, metaphysics, UFOs, all of those things. But I didn't really, not necessarily take any classes that were related to what I know now, right? And then I started studying this body of work where it's kind of like the bridge of science and spirituality called Keylontic science. That's Keylontic science. And the woman who, is sort of I don't know, she doesn't channel, and in fact this work doesn't endorse channeling, but she is the harbinger of this information. She is connected her family line. It's like a data transfer. It's called Keylontic crystalline transmission. So basically it's like a zip file that she gets downloaded into her vessel, and she translates it into English. And there are, speakers that incarnate on a planet every 26,565 years, I believe. And, they come onto planet, and one of the beings that was a speaker that did the exact same thing, and this is debatable, right? People will kind of, it was Jesus Christ, or that's the stage name, but my understanding is Jeshua Sanada Melchizedek. That was the being that came here. And so anyway, without going on a whole story about that, that's a body of work that I aligned with very early on. And that's sort of where I learned, and a lot of my skill set kind of got awakened prior to that, but this was like 1998, 1999. And then I had gotten, for those of you that are into the esoteric arts or people that are, let's see if anybody's got a question here. Yeah, if you have any questions or anything, just drop them in here. I can check and see the messages. So want to make sure that I'm able to get any messages from anybody. So as we get into this, you have some questions answered, things that are your thoughts you're pondering, or anything that gets sparked here. So I want to make sure that those questions get answered. But yeah, that's kind of like, I read some books. I used to go to this bookstore in LA called the Bodhi Tree Bookstore, and metaphysics, you name it, anything having to do with esoteric arts, UFOs, aliens, different cultural sort of practices, anything from doing plant medicine, just all of it, the whole genre. So it was a lot of fun to, as a kid, I'm like a kid in a candy store, just like, wow, look at all these books, man. I just want to absorb this information. Now, not everything, I would agree with or align with, but it's personal. It's like what you align with, what you align and define, or define and align. And everything's constantly changing because you're like looking to, upgrade, change your livelihood, and see where things go. That's the whole idea, is to make these shifts. Yeah, right. There are a lot of people out there right now that some are great, some are not so great. I'm not gonna name names or people. I think the idea is for you to tune in for yourself what you see, and if they're dazzling you with diamonds and baffling you with bullshit, and they got all the LED lights and all the accoutrements and woo, it's not. This is how I work, right? Like this, one on one, right? I typically, one thing I'll interject here too is that I work with a platform for strategy and authority called Human Design. Maybe you've heard of Human Design. If you have, let me know in the comments below. I'm a projector. Projectors are the newest type on planet, according to Ra Uru, who is the founder, passed away many years ago, but downloaded this information, right? In his story, there's a video actually here on YouTube. I think it's almost like a 2-hour video, and he explains what happened to him. He was living in Ibiza, and he was sort of an nihilist, just didn't really give a shit about anything, and just got this whole download of this work, and it's been going very strong. It's translated into, like, I don't know, 50 different languages, 20 different languages. So I'll give you the quick and dirty that I know, because I don't know everything about human design. There are analysts out there, um, that are certified, you could say, by the website is mybodygraph.com. I'll put a link for it here. Mybodygraph.com. You can get a free chart, and there's 5 different types, right? There's manifestors, generators, manifesting generators, projectors, and reflectors. Now, we live in a generator world where it's go 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 do do do. They're energy types and manifestors, right? They are the builders. They've been the builders of this planet. Projectors we are the God, what are we? We're like the empaths. The we can take something, look at something, and this is something I know for myself from a very young age. I can observe something, a system, and I can refine it. I can find the shortest distance between 2 points. I can save time and money and energy and resources just by looking at something. As long as I have a little bit of an understanding of what it is, I can kind of give you my expression. But projectors are the type that have to be invited into a situation. We have to be recognized for our talent, skills, and gifts. Not like, oh, you are. No, not like subjective bullshit, but just honestly, truthfully recognized for who we are and what we offer, because we are non-energy types. Projectors are. There's several different types. I'm an emotional projector, a 1-3, which is martyr something else, and not. It is such a brilliant depth and breadth of work, similar to Kalantic science. But the reason I bring it up is because I use it as a tool to help me use correctness, meaning my strategy and authority. How can I navigate with my vehicle in this reality, in this hologram, okay, correctly? And there's a deconditioning process. Makes me think of the Matrix, right? You get unplugged, and then once you get unplugged, you're like, wow, whew, this place ain't what I thought it was. It's like, I think I want to go home. I don't want to be here no more. Right? A lot of people feel that way, but you can, but that's not the way to do it. You want to stay here. I know a lot of people are going through it very, very, and I'm not making fun of it. Humor is the way to kind of break it down and not take ourselves so seriously. I think it's really, because it can become very, very hardcore. It can get very, very literal, where you're like, shit, man, what do I do? And again, we're watching a lot of this stuff on these screens, right? So we see a lot of things, but I like to talk to boots on the ground. Let me talk to people that I actually know, that are global, that are around the world, that that um, that can see what's going on, rather than because most of the stuff you see right now on the screen, and it's to me only going to get different, is AI, right? Is it actual intelligence or artificial? And again, it's sort of like driving in a car, right? You have these new cars. Like for me, I have to get a new car, but I don't want a new car. I don't want everything looks the same. It's all Bluetooth, cloud technology. You know, it's like you don't even have to do anything. Just get in the car, and the car tunes in you and drives itself. I don't want that. I want analog. I want a blinker that I use. If I could have a stick shift, a standard, that's what I'd love. But that's the metaphor. The car is basically it's weakening our own innate senses, our innate multidimensional higher sensories, like spatial sense. Spatial sense is like if you're parking and you have to sense when the bumper is going to hit, the back, or when you're backing up, you look in the rear view mirror and you can gauge because we have these skills. But when we use technology, in this case, right, a camera or sensors on the rear and side view mirrors, right, if cars are getting too close, it's like that's not the way it's supposed to be. It's just not. You want to use your own innate senses and you want to build them up like a muscle. You know, that's why we do the things that we do. We, do the activities, getting out in nature, taking care of ourselves, getting the right hydration and foods, and in some cases, supplements. I don't like to call it biohacking. I call it rewilding or renaturing. Okay. Um, and there are technological like red light therapy, saunas, cold plunge. That seems to be the big buzz right now. And if you go to other countries, you go to like Eastern Europe or the Arctic or Greenland or Iceland or Norway. I mean, these are day to day. These are actual practice. This isn't anything new. Like Wim Hof stuff. It's like, yeah, like only in the Western world do we see these things, and you know, it's different. It's just completely different here in the U.S. Than it is, I think, in other places. And if you're, watching this on the replay, and you agree with this or whatever, if you have a comment, again, drop them down below. Um, but let's get back to it. So, again, I'm talking about the whole idea of spiritual and energetic hygiene. What do you do? How do you navigate your day? Do you have a practice? Do you do yoga, stretching? Do you go running, walking? You go do kickboxing? I mean, what are the things that you typically do that you find help you to ground you and bring you into, take you out of sympathetic or, sympathetic mode into parasympathetic, which is rest and digest rather than fight or flight. And right now, a lot of people are in fight or flight, right? Their nervous system is shot. They're creating all types of man-made diseases. They go to these allopathic practitioners, even the functional and integrative and holistic and all this stuff. Not everyone is clearly out there to help other people. Let me just check something here. Yeah, so I just want to say, it's important that we really tune in and align ourselves because we all need mentors and guides. I mean, that's something that to me is at some point we rely. Like, say you have an issue or problem, you call a friend or you call your parents or a sibling or a loved one, and you go, "Hey, man, maybe they've been further ahead of you on this journey of life, right? So, hey, have you ever had this problem? Did you go through a divorce, the passing of someone, loss of something?" Because that's what happens. These events trigger our nervous system, and they in some way help protect us, but in other ways they close us down, they lock us in so we don't advance. Fear, the acronym, goes back, fuck everything and run, or false evidence appearing real. Those are the acronyms for fear. And so we can let it drain us based on all the insufficient evidence that we think we see out in the world, right? Whether you go outside, you talk to people, you go to a coffee shop and what's the topic of the day or what people are talking about, and you go, wow, I don't feel that, I don't see that, I don't notice that. The thing that you want to pay attention to that not enough of us, I think, really do, and even for myself, we are all walking by and interacting with each other, but yet we were all walking probabilities. Like we could be standing physically next to one another and we could see something in the sky, or one person maybe could see it, another person can't, or something of that nature. So even though we're kind of in a physical, biological sense in a similar time, space, location, yet we're not on an energetic frequency vibrational place. We're all walking around at different access levels, okay? And that's not anything that's where you're better or worse. That's just the nature of evolution, how we are. These things aren't commonly talked about, or um, they're just, yeah, they're not. When I talk to people about this, it's like it's a new idea, but that's great because that's what it's about. It's like, wow, you planted a seed. I never really looked at it, and based on your belief system, right? Because beliefs are something that you have to be convinced of. Make sense? You have to be convinced of it. How are you convinced of it? Well, you're indoctrinated. You go to an education system, or an indoctrination system is what I call it, and you are told this is history, this is the way it is, this is how things work, blah, blah, blah. You know? Um, but no one questions, well, show me the evidence of that. And I guess there's a lot of things that really, sometimes there isn't. It's like the biggest argument I get with people is like, with UFOs and extraterrestrials, metaterrestrials, and all. Well, show me proof of it. Like, well, if you need proof and validation, and I'm not saying that's something that's important. It's just like I think it's a different thing when you can use your intuition, your feeling and emotion rather than your logic and intellect. And feeling and emotion requires discernment, and it involves critical thinking, or we could say critical feeling, where you just come back to center, right? You're not over here, you're not over here. You try to find your center, and intuition, okay? Because ultimately that's what we need to use to navigate. Feeling, not the mind. The mind is Maya. It's distraction, it's illusion, okay? Yes, the mind can be good, but it's got to take a back seat. Feeling and emotion take the front seat. Presence. That's the gift, the present, okay? And when you are in the driver's seat, and the mind, because the mind wants to keep things in, I want to keep you safe, the ego. Oh, don't go here, don't do this, don't try that, right? Because that's where things kind of derail, okay? Because you want to be on point with who you are and what you're about. And I ask people, who are you? The first thing they'll tell me, oh, I'm Sam, I'm Joe, I'm Bobby, I'm Sue, I'm Kim. That's your personality. Who are you? The essence, the spirit, the soul. And people have never really given that much thought. They usually describe their job, where they come from, their culture, their religion, their background, but that's not you. That's the costume over you, right? That's not who you are. So I've had to go through that. Like, who am I? You know, I am a being that is here to create. I mean, I'm giving you a general assessment, but I have unique abilities, talents, and I'm a constant researcher, and I'm looking and seeking. My ex used to tell me that seekers never find. I was like, oh, you watch me, honey. You know, um, that was motivation for me. But um, finding out who you are is part of the discovery, because once you know who you are, you really don't tend to create the same sort of chaos that maybe you're creating now, and you have disconnected yourself from, like, that's not my fault. Someone did that. That person, my mother, my father, my cousin, sister, brother, uncle, they did it to me. So the game on the planet is victim-victimizer, okay? And there's three characters. And I'm going to tell you who the three characters are. And if you look around in any part of your reality, you will see these characters being played out, even in your own life, all the time, okay? And the reason that they're being played out all the time with these three characters is it's a way to suck energy from you, okay? And especially when you play one of these roles. And the first one is the victim. Pour me another drink. for me, right? Oh, this happened to me, that happened to me. I'm powerless. I can't change this. Can you fix it for me? Suck energy. That's what those people do. And again, not judging, this is observation because this is a survival mechanism. Let's talk about the other two characters, okay, in the global playbook here. So you have the victim. Well, you can't be a victim unless you have a persecutor. Someone persecutes you. Someone did some wrong to you. And then the knight in shining armor, right? The rescuer. Dun, da, da, da. There you go. Okay? The victim, the persecutor, the rescuer, right? And in religion, it's the savior. He, she, it is coming. The ships, the ETs, they're coming to save us and take us away. No, they're not. They're not. You want to find your savior? You want to find your healer? Go look in the mirror. This just in. Yeah, it's you. It's you. You are the powerful one that can regulate your nervous system, that can change your externalized hologram, right? And what I help you and support you to do is reflect and mirror back that. I'm not a healer. I'm not a guru, right? I'm here to reflect back to you your essence, your truth, your omnipresence as God source, okay? Because you are that spark of source. And never forget that, okay? I don't care what your belief system is. I don't care what your legion, because the original legion is one, and all of that distorted stuff, Hey, I respect if you want to, carry on with that. That's your business, but I left that shenanigans a long time ago, like a long time ago. And that's the thing. And once you can unload these belief systems, things that you've been convinced of, right? Things that you've been propaganda, programmed, controlled, conditioned. These are things that's set in stone. They are solidified in your hologram, in your template, in your morphogenetic field. Okay, these are energetic constructs that guide you through the maze of life. The people you meet, the things you do, the actions you take, the thoughts you think, these are all part of that matrix, okay? And when I work with you, when we work together co-creatively, because you are not giving your power to me, you are maintaining, sustaining, and holding and regulating your own power. And that is priceless. Bar none, okay? And when you do that, that's where the magic happens. And it's not even magic. It's just, things just shift. We attribute so many labels, names. Oh, it's quantum. You're in the quantum field. You're this. Just like, it just happens. When you go to other biologies, okay, other planetary systems, like not like you're going to get in a ship and travel. Some people have, right? I just have recall. I have memory, okay? When you think something, and I know, you could list, Goddard and Think and Grow Rich and all the books on manifestation and, ad nauseum. I could just vomit this stuff, right? But I recall when I was younger, like I used to say, why do we have to pay for stuff? Like, we're the only planet, and this isn't my quote. This is actually from, what's his name? He talks to the Andromedans. If you know who I'm talking about, you know who I'm talking about. He's a guy, he's met with this collective, the ET group, the Andromedans. But anyway, one of the, Alex Collier, that's who it is. He said that Morne, I think is one of the beings that he talked to, said, you're the only planet that you have to pay to live on it, right? And there was another quote that he left him with that I absolutely love. Okay, I think this is really, really powerful. Are you ready? Ready? It's a great quote. And I hope I say it right. The pain you carry is the love you withhold. Or maybe it's the other way. It can work both ways. The love you withhold is the pain that you carry. I forget there's a term when it's both ends, right? When you say what you mean and you mean what you say. The love that you withhold is the pain that you carry. The pain that you carry is the love that you withhold. So there's levels. And the way that you feel about yourself, the way that you protect yourself, is based on your beliefs, things that you've created for yourself to navigate. And that's where I come back to human design in a sense, because that's strategy and authority, how you navigate, how you operate correctly in this world. It's not like it's bad, good, bad, or wrong. It's just, what is your correctness for you? For you. That's it. And so when I work with people one on one, man, it's fun. It's fun because a lot of times, sometimes I go remote, meaning like I can bilocate. I can bilocate. So I'll be here talking to you, and all of a sudden in my field of vision, I'll just get an image. Like maybe I'm being shown that because that's something I need to convey to you in a session. Like, do you remember when you were 7 and okay, I'm seeing this room, and then someone walked in and this happened, and they said, okay, right then was when you got slammed, right? And I see it. But maybe you forgot about it, didn't know about it. It was a memory that was deeply suppressed within you. But because your higher self and my higher self, we're bridging a gap here, we're communicating, and I'm able to locate that in real time and now time. Okay, for lack of a better word, time doesn't exist, but for the sake of we're here in 3D in this world, yes, it's a linear, isolated thing. But when you leave this planet, two things go when you leave this planet. I'm not saying crossing over, dropping your body. I'm saying two things leave: your ego and all sense of time. And I'm not talking about people that go to planets and shit. I'm just talking about traveling outside of harmonic universe 3 and 4. 3 dimensions. We are physically in 3D, but our consciousness is stationed 1 dimension above in D4. So the level of your identity is in the astral, and there's a part of you, you're physically here in 3D. I know, I jump all around, so I'm sorry. If you have questions about what I've said so far in this video, drop them below. Let me know. I'll keep going. And yeah, I'm going to be doing this more often. Also, I am on, if you're on the TikTok, that is, you can find me there. I go pretty much every day around noon. I go live doing the same thing. And that is, my handle is Josh Intuitive Guide on TikTok. So you can find me there. And yeah, that's what I'm here to do. I love helping, guiding. It's fun. It brings me so much joy, and for the clients as well too, when they do the work and they make progress, right? And to me, progress is just you're taking a step and you're landing somewhere that you didn't think you were going to, or it was unexpected. And that leads me to the next thing is when I work with people, I tell people don't have any expectations, don't have an agenda. Okay, have an intention, but don't have an agenda. Because agendas, these things are contractions of energies. The thoughts we think, you'd be amazed, or maybe you're not amazed, but you would agree that that's what happens. You lock certain things in by the way that you hold a certain type, like this can't happen, or I can't do this, it's never going to happen for me. And it's never going to happen for you, right? So we could say our place in space and time, our evolvement, how we evolve. I don't like to say age, but there's some sharp people out there that are in their hundreds that are what do they call them, centennials, something, centurions, something. I don't know what the term is, but yeah, that's that's what it's all about. I mean, it really gets to a place where when you are in tune with yourself, when you know who you are, you just that things happen. You're making things happen. You're in alignment. Things are just showing up. I've had it happen. I don't have it happen all the time, but yeah. It's funny because I ask the same questions when I watch other people that are talking about manifesting. Well, give me an example. Show me, You're professing to me and telling me all these things, but how has this worked for you, right? And again, I'm being totally transparent with you. I don't do it all the time. I do it when I feel aligned to do it. And that is as a projector. There's some days where I just don't have the bandwidth or the energy or the motivation. I'm sure that's the same for you. You get up one day and it's just not in you to go work out or go for a walk or do something. But the thing is, I think once you have an outline of what it is you're looking to address, manifest or take care of, you will get there. As long as it's there, you've anchored it. You know, even writing it down. Writing it down is an energetic encryption. You're bringing something of a thought, of an idea. You're bringing that essence and you're bringing it into manifestation. One of the clearest ways to do that, you're transmitting. Like I'm a lefty. So this is magnetic. Your left side is magnetic. Your right side is electrical. Sort of like a Merkaba. Top is magnetic, bottom is electrical. I think I got that right. So the Merkaba, if you've ever heard of a Merkaba, that's how ships come in. They are oscillating or vibrating. So clockwise, right? 11 and 2/3. Counterclockwise, 33 and a third, like the way albums used to be. So that's a Merkaba vehicle. These are fields of energy. And what they're doing is they're pulling in source energy. They're not pulling in finite vampiric energy like the Fibonacci spiral, or often referred to as the fib of no chi. See, they put it right in front of your face and just change the language around. Fibonacci, fib of no chi. That's actually a Guardian anecdote or expression. They have a really great sense of humor. And so there you go. There you go. There you go. Anybody got any questions? Or did I put everybody to sleep? I don't know. I love this stuff, man. This is all... I forgot my water. Darn. I'm rocking the camera here. So, yeah, that's really, and the hygiene and the discipline are really important. So whether you work with me or you work with somebody else, I mean, hopefully you really have done your due diligence. Ask these people questions. Like, oh, yeah, I noticed, like, you're not present when we talk. Like, oh, it's because I did ayahuasca before I jumped into the session, or I smoked a bowl, I rolled a joint, I had a little shot of something, right? Alcohol, okay, in Sanskrit is called alkhul, Alkhul, which translates into, ready? Body eating spirit. Again, put it in front of your face, market it, call it something different. And what does everybody do? Everybody. I mean, I don't drink, but I used to. Did a lot of alcohol, did a lot of drugs. I don't anymore. I don't profess perfection. I profess just observing things. We're all on a journey and a path, and some of us get deviated from that path, and we do things that probably aren't in the best. I know I've done that. I don't anymore. I have other areas of my life I need to work on. My stubbornness, my partner will tell me that. I get steadfast with things. When I get into something, sometimes on my computer or my phone, maybe you can relate to this, I just, wow, 2 hours went by like that. I have an open sacral, so sometimes, that's what I have. I use this baby here. This is a Pomodoro clock. Like, I just set this up. This is really cool. So I can put the time, right? I got 30-minute timer. So 30 minutes, boom. When that bell goes off, I'm on to something else. I go for a walk or I do something else. But these babies are great. If you're someone that doesn't manage time, I've never been in this world or of this world of time, like with jobs. I'm supposed to be there at 9 a.m. I get there at 9:15. Or I get there earlier. But I'm not a slave to time in any way, shape, or form. I haven't, never have been, never will be. It's not like it's like a fuck you to the system, but in a way it is. It's like I work on divine time. I align, and with where I'm supposed to be, when I'm supposed to be there. And I leave that up to source. Now, that's not like elusive, but it probably, that's my truth for me. So, what else? If you have any questions, again, anything here, drop them below. I think it's great if people drop questions, even in the replay. Even if it's a year from now, you may come back to this and go, wow, man, you were talking about something that I had heard about. I think I heard you talk about this a year or two ago, and let me drop the question. I do check. I go back. I've been watching YouTube pretty much since it started. What was it, 2004? Something like that? Or 2014? I forget when YouTube started, but I didn't really get into it until several years ago. But I've even gone back. I still, to this day, get comments on some of my earlier videos, and I respond. So I'm just putting that out there. But what else? Yeah, that's it. I think that's kind of what I wanted to cover, unless someone's got a question or wants to chime in on something. But it's really about discipline. It's about, if you're going to work with someone, it's really important to um, kind of get their dossier, their background, where they came from, what they're about, why they do what they do, what motivates them to get out of bed, how do they learn, what are some of the shortcomings, the mistakes they've made. It's like, I don't know, if you interview, if you go to a doctor, right, you're gonna say like, well, I took a course online, so let me operate on you. Really? Okay. I think this is this your heart over here? Yeah, okay. We're good, man. I'm just gonna give you some anesthesia, put you out, but don't worry about it. We're good. You know? It's like, same thing with a practitioner, whether it's a psychic, a medium, a rolfer, someone who does tarot cards and things like that. Because it's not only, if you don't ask the questions, if it's not safe for you, it's probably not safe for them as well. You know, and even channelers, people that channel, it's a seduction. I've done it. My higher self played a really wild joke on me for the longest time. This is when I lived back in L.A. I've got stories for stories. And I was literally channeling. I used to go to channeling seminars. I used to see Bashar, God, probably 25, 30 years ago. I think he's been doing it for like 40 years now. And he is, for those of the boomers or Gen Xers, Daryl Anka is Paul Anka's brother. Paul Anka, this singer from, long time ago. I don't know if Paul's still around or even singing. But like, yeah. So, that's a channel. There's three types of channeling. There's trance, or there's conscious, trance, and out of body. And I used to do trance channeling. And what it was really, the joke was on me, was I was channeling myself. But it had this weird voice, like this Indian voice. And it was basically because I didn't want to take accountability and responsibility for myself. I never wanted to give somebody the wrong information. So that's where vicariously, this third being or third wheel would be sort of like the fall guy, right? If I got, oh, it wasn't me, it was, right, the entity that I, or, what I was channeling. And I later learned that in my sessions with myself, back on one of the last days. And that's, if you are going to channel, I don't endorse it at all, because it can, there can be major problems, especially if you're an out of body channel like Daryl Anka is with Bashar. And if you ever heard of Jane Roberts, Seth Speaks, Jane was a out of body channel. And I believe it ended up that Seth ended up taking her life. So it's not something to mess around with. And a lot of people get seduced. I see people talking and, they're doing light language and all this other stuff. Be careful. You know, as Wim Hof would say, be aware, take care, and then share. And even then, you have to use your own critical thinking and discernment, or critical feeling, as I like to call it. That's really where the rubber meets the road, because you maintain your own power, your own essence of who you are. If you rely on somebody else and give your power away and put them on a pedestal, like so many people do, right? That's what they use religion for. Religion has always been used to divide and conquer. My God's better than yours. There's like so many divisions and shit. It's like, it's just so old and outdated. And hey, some people don't see that yet. But yeah, that's the thing. It's like, you really have to reclaim your essence, your energy, and never let that go. And when you work with somebody, that's super important, and you need to interview them, and ask yourself the question, Simon Sinek, why? What is your why? Why do you want to go see this person? You have to know that. Why? What can they potentially offer you? What are they going to tell you what you want to hear? Are they going to, really just, kiss your ass and tell you you're this and you're that, when it's not that it's not true, but are you looking for an ego seduction? Or are you looking for the real inner reflection for outer direction? That's what I like to say. And that's where things really make a huge difference. I've seen it time and time again, over and over, and I'll keep shouting it from the rooftops, mountaintops, from my office. You know, that's really where the changes happen here. Um, and you owe it to yourself, right? I mean, if you've got a condition, if you've got a physical condition, right? Some people get, they've got all these labels for diseases now, right? So, you got type 2 diabetes, you've got the C word, you've got all these things. A lot of times, as I say, it's 5 pillars. It's energetic, spiritual, emotional, mental, and the last place something shows up is physically. So if the other 4 have not been addressed, this is what happens, right? And then you go to an allopathic practitioner, and they will then give you a label. They will diagnose you. Take the word gnosis, Gnosticism. Words are very powerful. They cast spells. So be careful of the words you choose, both in what you read, what you listen to, and what you say to yourself. Choose your thoughts and your intentions wisely. Think before you drink, kind of a thing. Don't let others, if you've got a feeling, a sense about something, and everybody in your family, your colleagues, your coworkers think the opposite of you, or they look, oh, you're one of those people, huh? Where's your tinfoil hat, huh? Bye-bye. That just means you've moved on. You're tuning into your own sensitivity, your own way of navigating your correctness, your strategy, your authority over your vessel, you. Okay? No one else can do it for you. No one can fix you. No one can heal you. Yes, there are people that call themselves healers, and yes, there are people that go to these people and they're giving their power away. And what the healer doesn't recognize is that, at least this is my interpretation, they have an ability, they have a skill, but maybe they have that ability and skill because they have a lesson to learn too. They're out there and they're fixing, but you're never broken. I just want you to know that you are not broken. There's nothing to fix. There's only awareness and expansion. And once you have that, I have a client and he wrote a testimonial, what I like to call trustimonials. You can read it. His name's Alfredo because it's on my Beacons page. But he wrote in the testimonial, he said he had made more progress in the last, I think, 6 months or a year, I don't remember what it was, than he had in the last 10 years, right? And that was, we were working together, and this is like more than 20 years ago, okay? And, I remember one of the sessions, among many that we had, that he told me, we all hear things, right? Cliches, words, phrases, a sign, your loved one or someone tells you something, and for some reason, you don't lock in with it. Either your ego, you have an issue with the person, and it doesn't penetrate, doesn't get in, okay? But inevitably, at some point in time, you hear something similar, maybe not verbatim the same words, but you get the same statement, and bam, it just clicks, right? That's what happened with him. And it's almost like you take off the rose-colored glasses and you see things completely different. That's awareness. And once you have awareness, the game changes. It does. It's like if everyone on planet Earth right now were to take care of themselves, awaken to who they are, and really lock into that, right? The 3, the victim, the persecutor, the rescuer. It's it's a play that you can look at within yourself. And when you see that and you recognize that, the world instantly transforms. Instantly. It just does. Let me know if you agree. What are your thoughts on that? What do you think? Have you ever experienced anything like that? Seriously, drop a comment below. And I want to tell you, with comments, when you drop a comment below, hopefully you're not a troll and just saying shit just to say shit, because I just don't even pay attention to it. But if you have an interesting, something that you're observing, you're thinking, you're feeling, legitimately, right? Drop the comment below. Or if you're experiencing something, because what I love about these platforms when they are, serving the purpose for humanity is that someone may feel isolated and alone and are maybe afraid. They're just terrified to ask a question, even if nobody, they have a fake name and they just put something on. But if they ask the question in their correctness of what's really going on, hey, I have these thoughts that run through my head all the time. Does anybody else have these types of things? Watch the comments explode. They may not explode, but other people respond because we're connecting dots. We're bringing people together so that they don't feel alone and isolated. And I'll share this with you. This was really interesting too. Years ago, I took this course. It's not a course. It was like a group thing, like a Tony Robbins, but it wasn't Tony Robbins. It was many years ago, probably 40 years ago, 30 years ago, called Insight. The founder, his name was John Rogers. It was in Santa Monica, California. And there were these exercises we do, and they were actually pretty cool. They were like ESP exercises and telepathy exercises. So you could say I did take some courses, but not really. I mean, it was just more playfulness. But that's the other thing too. When you access these abilities, it comes through childlike play, not when you're serious or forcing something, right? If you notice, most people that have these abilities, even as we evolve, get older, they're very lighthearted, very playful, because that is an expansion of energy. That's the way Source is. Source is always lighthearted and playful. So anyway, the exercise was, there was the facilitator on the stage, and he had a piece of paper, and he drew like a palm tree and an island, okay? Okay, and then he drew another palm tree and an island. And above the two palm trees and islands, he wrote the word alone, A-L-O-N-E, okay? You follow me? Two islands, palm trees, and even drew a person on it, right? So two people on the island. And then he drew the word alone. And there was an exercise that we did in this particular, day. And the exercise was you had to pick someone, you always partnered with different people, but never the same person twice. So I had this woman, and you would both sit on the floor and you face each other. And there was an exercise, you can even try this, right? This is a great, cool little trick you can do. So the exercise is you sit and you face the person, you give the person verbally the name of the person you know, their age, and where they live, okay? And then you go into what's called your sanctuary. Now this is where the interesting part comes in, and I'll come back to the two island explanation in a minute. So your sanctuary is someplace you just sit quietly, and you just create this any way you want. And the way you create it, it's you're doing this higher dimensionally, okay? That's what's really happening. So you imagine, okay, so for me, my sanctuary is on a crystalline beach somewhere. I don't know where. The water is like this azure blue, translucent. It's on the sand. There's trees. Okay, and I'm in like these, I'm in like a yurt or something, and it's got all these rooms. So you have a people mover, and you have a mood room, and you can create other rooms. But the people mover is specific. That's something you use to invite people in to visit you, okay? So, and every time you add something or you get rid of something, you snap your fingers. So, okay, I add a people mover. Okay, boom. Oh, I want to change it. Boom, I don't like that. Boom, right? So that locks it in. So I did this, right, with my sanctuary. You give the verbal, the person gives the verbal, and then you go into your sanctuary. So I invited this person in that this woman gave me of this guy. Next thing you know, he gets in. My people mover looked like the monorail from Disneyland, right? It was like this fog comes in, the monorail comes in, and the door opens up, and he gets out, and he's like really happy to see me, right? And now the part of this exercise is you give verbal feedback, right? Okay, and the person's just listening to everything you're giving them, okay? At the end of this exercise, right, I think the end was like you wave goodbye to the person, they get on the people mover, you go away. Like even the mood room, there's a closet. You can put on a jacket for the mood that you're in right now. You pick a color. It could be purple, it could be red, yellow, orange, green, doesn't matter. Or make up your own colors. Okay, so you're getting verbal information, or you're giving verbal, information to the person. Your eyes are closed. That's the other thing. So you're facing, right? You can go back and listen to this again to get the whole instruction. And then there were about 100 people at this seminar, maybe 150. So everybody's doing this, okay? And at the end of this exercise, the facilitator up on the stage with the two islands, right, says, how many on a scale of 1 to 10, or 1 to 100, how many people got 10% of the information correct? A few hands went up. How many people got 30% of the information correct that they shared? Few. And the hands that are going up are the people that were that gave the original information to the person who went in. Not so it wasn't me that was raising their hand, right? It was the person, my partner. That's who. I'm sorry, I keep looking at the camera. My partner, she was raising her hand like, and then it was like 90 to 100%, right? My partner raised her hand, and then I looked around the room, and like, I'd say 3/4 of the room was in the 80 to 100% range of people of their partner that got. And then the facilitator goes back and he shows the board, right? The two islands and the word alone. And well, all he does, he goes, we think that we are alone, but really, he takes the pen and draws after the letter L in the word alone, draws a line. We're all one. Okay? We're all connected. We are just dots. We're all individual, beautiful, eternal sparks, stardust of source. Okay? There's no labels, there's no religion, there's no culture, there's none of it. This is us. This is the essence of who we are. Okay? And the sooner we recognize this, this is where the transformation station happens, where everything just, we have that ability, okay? We really undeniably truly do. And we need to remember that and recognize that and activate that. And that activation is through awareness, through recognition, through remembering who you are. Do you know who you are? That's what I want you to, to really tune in with. Who are you? Not your job, not your label, not your religion, not your culture, not the color of your skin. Who are you? Something to think about. Ponder that. Don't ask AI. You, and you alone. Be out in nature. Go wherever nature is for you. If you live in a big city, go to a park, find a tree. Just somewhere where you can connect with nature. And just ask that question vertically to your higher self, whether you believe that or not. If you want to call that God, whoever you want to give it a name, a label. Look, source is beyond gender classification. Hate to tell you this, newsflash. It doesn't matter, unless, of course, you're talking to something that doesn't have your best interest at heart. But I'm just talking about first eternal creation, God source, unutterable one, just the essence of the all that is. Not a creator God. I am not referring to that. Not the Anunnaki, not the Drax. No. None of that bullshit. Eternal life force source is what I'm referring to, which you are. All right. That's it for today. I'll be back again next. I may do this more. So let me know. You want more info? Got suggestions, ideas for how you want to see this Clarity Cafe go? The whole idea here is just sharing. Obviously, didn't have anybody today, but the idea as we go forward is to ask questions so I can provide insights for you. We do quick little reads, but those that want to dive deeper, there's a booking link, and we'll definitely do that if there's a fit, right, for both of us. So, have a wonderful days ahead. I don't like to use the term weak because we're not weak, even though it's spelled differently, W-E-E-K and W-E-A-K. But may the I got to come up with a phrase for it. The times ahead, the next moments ahead, going until we come back on next Sunday at 7 p.m. May they be expansive, brilliant, wonderful, insightful, invigorating, inspiring. Right? Lots of love. Cheers, and we'll talk soon again. Ciao for now.